I come in, sir?
Yeah, please do.
Good evening, sir. Good evening.
Good evening. Please take your seat. So you are Simi Karan.
Yes, sir.
Simi, I want you to introduce yourself to board members.
So as you said rightly, my name is Simi Karan. I belong to the state of Odisha. I have done my graduation in electrical engineering from IIT Bombay. I'm an enthusiastic and determined girl who enjoys teaching kids.
So you enjoy teaching kids. Your mother is also a teacher.
A teacher, yes, sir.
You didn't consider teaching as a profession?
So I did consider teaching as a profession. I was associated with Abhyashika. It's a student mentor at IIT Bombay. But I realized that when I'm a teacher, I'm teaching in an individual capacity. My role is as an individual. But if I take up the participation in civil services, I'll be able to contribute to several other sectors, and since I have already taught children, I do know certain problems that they might face and deal with that better in administration as well.
Simi, you studied electrical engineering and your grades suggest that you were not a bad student.
Yes,
9.72 in IIT Mumbai is supposed to be very good.
Yes.
Despite being a good student in a good institution, why IIT Bombay failed in giving you confidence to take electrical engineering as optional paper and you studied political science?
So I would not say that it failed to give me optional as electrical engineering. I chose PSIR consciously because when I was preparing for general studies, I found polity and international relations quite interesting. So I thought that while I'm preparing for this field, I can actually explore this subject better and get to know it better. So in that sense, political science and international relations seemed like a very lucrative choice for me.
Simi, since you studied political science and you're coming from Bhilai, and it mentioned that your father is in a reasonably high position in the PSU, right?
Yes, sir.
See, if you look at the public sector undertakings nowadays, these were considering that we are a welfare state and a socialist country as per the constitution, PSUs played very important role in the development of the country. But if you look the last decade or so, almost all PSUs, it appears, are being allowed to die. It appears that the government is deliberately pulling out of these PSUs by the means of either disinvestment or other instruments. And even Bhilai plant is no exception. Government have tried more than once to sell units from the sale. So do you think that PSUs are allowed to die, being allowed to die, and you also believe that they have become quite a government view them as a burden rather than as an asset?
So I would not consider the PSUs as a burden because our parameters for measuring the companies which are in the public sector and private sector will differ. Private sector companies run only for profit motive.
That's been a very socialist understanding we all share. But do you believe the government is not sharing this outlook and they are looking at the PSUs from a different angle?
So this government, and since 1991, we have taken the path of liberalization, and post that we have considered that the government should reduce its space where government should not go into business where the private sector can run well and it can do so competitively. Certain PSUs, for example, Bhilai Steel Plant, as you mentioned, there have been several other factors also which have played a major reason for their performance. For example, if we see the international arena, the protectionist tendencies, etc. And I think there are several PSUs which are performing well. For example, Coal India Limited, ONGC, etc. So we can...
Performance is not stopping them becoming a saleable commodity. Even the profit-making PSUs are for sale.
I'm sorry, sir?
Even the profit-making PSUs are on sale nowadays.
So, sir, we can consider privatizing those entities where the government does consider, for example, a greater amount of competition, efficiency will help the sector. But we can still keep certain strategic sectors, for example, defense, etc., and keep a private sector as an additional player rather than completely privatizing it. And I believe the government is moving in that direction.
Simi, both your parents come from Odisha. You are also from Odisha.
Yes.
Though you are domicile of Chhattisgarh most of the time.
Yes, sir.
But in your DAF, you have decided not to work in Odisha,
Yes, sir.
and your preference for Chhattisgarh is also very low.
Yes, sir.
Why?
Sir, coming from Odia family, I believe I know the culture very well. I might also know the challenges well. But living in only these two states or having the exposure to only these two states, I felt like now if I can participate and contribute to some other state, I'll be able to explore the rest of India. I might get a chance to know what challenges they are facing and hence contribute there as well. So I thought that going for Madhya Pradesh would be a better option.
As a student of political science, how do you explain the phenomenon that mainstream political parties in India have not been very strong in Odisha? And for quite a long time, local parties have been able to win the confidence of people there. Even the present ruling party is celebrating 20th year of its regular governance.
Yes, sir. Sir, in Odisha, as like any other local state party elections, the issues that dominate have been the regional issues, be it the road construction or village development or urbanization, but these have largely been local issues. And the political parties which are in the region, which are local parties, they have been better able to communicate their performance in these sectors vis-a-vis the national political parties. Also their grassroots connect with the local people there has been better. So despite the BJP and other parties performing very well at the national level, they have not been able to penetrate to that extent in Odisha.
No, we are tracing certain things from ancient history also. While Chandragupta Maurya incorporated many territories in and around Odisha to his empire, his son also incorporated, but he decided not to annex or incorporate Odisha in his empire. Only his grandson Ashok tried, misadventurous attempt he was, and he repented thereafter. Again in medieval period, Ashok decided not to integrate Odisha in the Mughal Empire. So Odisha has remained largely out of the mainstream political structure.
Yes, sir.
There could have been some deeper causes, reasons for that.
Sir, if we see historically, the region in and around Bhubaneswar Puri, which has been the Cuttack, which has been the capital of that region, it has been a very prosperous region, largely because the agrarian economy has functioned very well. It has had a very strong navy, which has had contacts with several Southeast Asian countries in terms of trade. So it has always been a very flourishing country. When we see Ashoka trying to capture that region, that was also largely emanating from a threat that they might disconnect the central part of India from the main region of Ashokan Empire. So I think the prosperity and the relative autonomy with which that region functioned has enabled it to keep its culture separate, and also those regional parties, regional kings did not take too much of an assertive stance towards the main kings if we see in those periods. I think in that time that is a major
entire
reason.
ancient time and until pre-medieval times, participation of women in public life and political life was quite broad-based and strong.
Yes, sir.
Why it has declined in last 1000 years?
So I think one of the major reasons for this has been that once these families became prosperous, they started earning more, they got a decent life, they have well-established agrarian economies. The women slightly felt less of a need to go out and participate in the economy. That might be one of the reasons. So if I compare with Chhattisgarhi women are much more involved in the economic process as compared to Odia women. But today, if we see, the parties have taken several steps. For example, Mission Shakti has been a very good example of self-help groups for women, and their participation has been increasing.
Can you recall how many women ministers are working in Odisha government, cabinet of Odisha?
As of now?
Today.
Sorry, sir, I cannot recall.
Okay, thank you.
So, IIT Mumbai.
Yes, sir.
So, whole Mumbai is located on different islands.
Yes, sir.
How many islands on Mumbai are located?
Sorry, sir, I don't remember.
IIT located in which island?
It's near the Powai Lake and
Island.
close.
I want to know island. Either it is Salsit Island or Butcher Island or Elephant Island or something other.
Sorry, sir, I
You
don't
don't
remember.
know. Okay. Look, we have two type of unconventional thermal power, right? One is called methane-based thermal power, and the second is what? Natural gas-based thermal power.
Yes, sir.
What is the basic difference of functioning of these two thermal powers? Where is methane-based thermal power is located?
Sorry, sir, I don't remember.
Which one is better for our environment? Either natural gas based or methane gas based?
So, perhaps methane gas based would
Why?
be
Why?
better. Because here we can use biomass, etc., and then from waste to energy we can consider that way.
Either carbon is more dangerous or hydrocarbon is more dangerous.
Sorry, sir, I'm not understanding the question.
Natural gas related to hydrocarbon
Mhm.
and methane related to coal. So which one is more dangerous for climatic change?
The coal based one will be more dangerous.
Look, in Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, we have concept of Jila Sarkar,
Yes, sir.
particularly Madhya Pradesh. So do consider Jila Sarkar popularity across Madhya Pradesh reason behind decline of thought of nationalism on one hand and demand of separate state on the other hand. Is it correct?
So can you repeat?
Jila Sarkar. What is Jila Sarkar?
Basically, the district administration is dominant.
Look, this is Panchayati Raj.
Okay.
So in Panchayati Raj, the most important Panchayati Raj model which has been implemented, that is Madhya Pradesh.
Yes, sir.
And in Madhya Pradesh, there is a Jila Sarkar, concept of Jila Sarkar.
Sorry, sir, I'm not
don't know.
completely aware.
Which state having facility to call back provision,
Yes, sir, Madhya Pradesh has the provision.
where it has been used for the first time in Madhya Pradesh.
Sorry, sir, I don't remember.
Look, Vilai having certain problem. One of the problem related to your electrical engineering, that is flying ash.
Yes, sir.
How flying ash is, look, as a problem for Bhilai itself.
So actually, flying ash, when it is generated, if it is not contained at the source itself, then it can spread very easily in the environment, and then it settles down upon the trees, upon the houses, and it can also be a major source of respiratory problems. So now we have started making bricks out of them and selling them. So that is one way.
What is separator? What is separator in what thermal power?
Basically, it separates out the impurities or these kind of depositions. For example, I'm not exactly sure what kind of depositions.
Cinder separator. The full name is cinder separator.
Sorry, sir, I don't remember.
You know Tendula Canal?
Yes, sir.
What is the importance of Tendula plant for the people of Bhilai?
So it provides water to Bhilai steel plant, as well as I believe it is for water supply of the city.
From
as
where
well.
it is getting water?
The Shivnath River.
This is Shivnath River or what? Mahanadi River.
So, it's the tributary of Mahanadi River, Shivnath River. On that, Tandula Dam is located.
Look, there is some problem in Hirakud Dam, right? Longest dam in Asia.
Yes, sir. But
What are the basic problems in Hirakud Dam?
so one of the major problems has been like the flooding of the region that has taken place because of the large area that it covers. So
What are the important minerals of Sundargarh?
iron ore, coal, bauxite.
Bauxite.
Yes, sir.
Where is Bir Mitrapur? Bir Mitrapur.
Yes, sir.
Very close to your given address.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So it is famous for a particular mineral,
Sorry, sir, I cannot recall.
limestone.
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Simi,
Yes.
recently Odisha has been fighting a war with Bengal over a savory.
Yes,
What was it?
Rasgulla.
And why was there such a bone of contention between the two states? Why both of them were fighting?
Ma'am, actually both of them are contending for where the sweet originally started from. So Bengal states that it started in their state, and they say the history is somewhere 150 years old. But Odisha has been claiming that it's actually more than 700 years old, and it started in Puri because
That's Chenapoda.
actually the pujaris from Puri temple and in and around region were very famous, and they were taken to Bengal and they introduced the sweet there. That is the claim of Odisha.
Okay.
So there are certain differences in the two sweets. So now both of them have got their separate GI tags.
And which version of story do you believe in?
I believe that since both are happy now, they have got their GI tags, and I am also happy.
Okay. Odisha government had introduced a very ambitious scheme for farmers,
Yes, ma'am.
the Kalia scheme. But recently it has reduced the amount being given to the farmers. Can you tell me why? If it was such a good scheme that it was held over PM Kisan, why did the state government decide to reduce the amount?
Actually, the state government knew that already the central government is introducing PM Kisan, and now what they have done is they have clubbed the two schemes, and since the central government is giving 6,000 rupees, they will be providing the remaining 4,000 rupees. So it totally comes down to 10,000 rupees.
And what about the landless farmers, which Kalia was covering but not the Kisan?
Ma'am, I believe they will be continued to cover separately in Kalia scheme. I'm not exactly sure of the present status.
PVTGs in Odisha are quite prevalent.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell me what is this concept of PVTGs and which PVTGs in Odisha are there?
Ma'am, particularly vulnerable tribal groups are certain tribal communities within the tribals who are particularly vulnerable because of their either stagnant or declining population or very poor health and education indicators. So some of the famous ones in Odisha may be the Dongriya Konds, the Kutia Konds, and these are the two ones that I'm remembering.
Can you
right
tell
now.
me their population if they are under PVTG?
No, ma'am, I don't remember the exact population.
Okay, approximate.
I know that STs make up 18%, but
No, these two tribal groups
No,
which
ma'am.
you just spoke about.
I'm not very sure.
Can you tell me their cultural markers, both of these?
I do know they have a different eating habits, and also their dance performances, etc. are different. But there's one particular called Makar Jatra that is famous among the tribes in my district, and I probably think that this is also famous among the Konds as well. I'm not very sure.
Okay, Odisha government had recently been pulled up for not seriously taking up the schemes related to PVTGs and the other tribal group schemes. Can you tell me where is state government faltering and why isn't it taking care of such an important section of citizens?
There have been several schemes that Odisha government has introduced for them.
Can you name some of them?
One is called Jeeban Sampark, that is specially for their health facilities for the PVTG. They have started creche facilities for the children of the community, and they also run emergency ambulance services, etc. I feel the major challenge has been to connect with these communities and to make them realize that these schemes that they might be introducing, they are not a hamper in their culture, but rather it will enrich their culture and make them better in the long run. So there's been a strong divide in trying to explain this thing to the PVTGs. And also there's a bit of a less outreach as much than as it's required.
Okay, my last question to you, since you have worked in the rural arena, the school children, if you were to be made the district administrator of some tribal area, and if you have to work with those children, what specific things would you keep in mind while engaging with them?
Ma'am, one of the major challenges that these children face is the language barrier. They don't know English, nor is Odia their first language. They have very unique languages, and if they're taught in Odia or English, they might not understand or even connect with that subject.
Obviously. So
So-
how would you work around it?
So I would want to introduce language instructors and I would also start with their own language at a very young age, then introduce Odia.
And what would you
then
be
English.
teaching?
Sorry?
What would you be teaching?
So I would start in the very first years of their schooling. I would first want to make them aware of the richness of their own tribal culture and how they can participate and make it even more popular in other places. So that would be something.
Thank you, Simi.
Simi, your optional is political science and IR.
Yes, sir.
So tell me, what is the significance of Peloponnesian War in international relations? Are you aware of this?
No, sir.
What do you understand by balance of power?
So balance of power is a concept which is used in international relations. It basically shows that when there are multiple powers in the international arena, a country, while trying to defend its national interests, will go for this. It can be done in two ways, either internally by increasing its defense expenditure, economic prowess, etc., or internationally by combining
And
with
balance
other
of power
countries.
leads to more peaceful neighborhood, or like it leads to conflict and wars?
Historically, it has led to more conflicts and wars because World War I, World War II can be given as examples.
Okay. What is this one China policy?
I believe it's related to the number of children that they can have.
That is two-child norm, but this is one China policy.
Okay, sir. So, it's related to the integration of the regions like Taiwan, Hong Kong, etc. into the mainland. So that earlier where...
You are not sure about this
No,
because
sir.
Hong Kong and Macau are like one country, two systems.
Yes, sir, but they want to integrate it.
Right. So my question to you is, like, India adheres to this one China policy where India does not have independent foreign relations with Taiwan
Yes, sir.
to take care of the Chinese sensitivities. But China, on the other hand, does not show any such sensitivity while dealing with J&K issue. And in fact, like, it has the China-Pakistan economic corridor is a violation of India's territorial integrity.
Yes, sir.
So why is this?
So India's stand has been defined since the Panchsheel Agreement, and India in the international arena has tended to not interfere in the internal affairs of other countries. That has been something which India has shown across countries, not just in China. But China, on the other
But
hand,
are we weak while dealing with China?
I think we are
Take for
pragmatic.
example Doklam issue.
So I think we are pragmatic. For example,
We
in
understand our weakness and that's why we don't want to rub
so
China
not
the
just
wrong
our
way.
weaknesses, but we also understand our strengths very well. For example, if we see the Mamallapuram spirit, right before that, we upgraded the Quad to the ministerial level. That is an indication to China that we have our cards, but we are willing to play them according to
Okay,
how you
Simi,
want
tell
to.
me, like, there have been a lot of protests against this CAA.
Yes, sir.
But if we talk about international relations, I feel India has actually scored a self-goal by actually passing such a law which indirectly accuses countries like Bangladesh and Afghanistan of religious persecution of their minorities. So our relations will deteriorate.
So I think with respect to Bangladesh, India can manage its relations well if it is able to separate the two issues. So India has been trying to explain to Bangladesh that this will in no way hamper the bilateral relations. It is a completely internal issue to India, and this is what it has been projecting to the international media as well. And I think that's a very smart move to have on part of India.
But Afghanistan people are also not thrilled. They said that all of Afghanistan is persecuted.
So even here, I think that if we are able to segregate the two issues, we will work out very well with Afghanistan.
Okay, let's take another question. If you are having two people, one is a libertarian and one is a liberal, who will be more supportive of government action to uplift the people?
I think the libertarian will be more supportive. I'm not very sure.
Okay. My final question to you, there has been 20 years of single party rule in Odisha. Now, what does it show? Does it show the political maturity of the people there, or the political apathy of the people, that they are not concerned, whosoever is ruling?
So I cannot take a 1 or 0 whether it's apathy or pragmatism. The political scenario has improved a lot since the past times in terms of participation of people, in terms of the exposure that people have got to the political process itself. But there have been certain challenges, for example, the penetration of other political parties or awareness.
Simi, what is the meaning of your name?
So actually the name Simi is derived from a warrior named Shimi who could come out successfully from any situation. It also means commanding peace.
What is the source of the story?
So it's a mythological story actually,
Hindu mythology?
Hindu mythology.
Okay, tell me where, what, who he or she was, and in which context this story is there. I'm all ears.
Sir, I'm not very sure of the entire context.
You never
but
inquired?
It was told.
Why your parents named you for some unknown myth?
So actually, I was named after Simi Garewal, the famous actress.
You are not named after this
No,
student
sir.
organization Simi?
No, sir.
What is this Simi?
So, Students of Islamic Movement of India. It's a banned organization under the UAPA Act, and it has been known to involve in fundamentalist and violent activities against the state, and it promotes that.
That sounds horrible.
Yes, sir, it is.
Why would your parent name you Simi when they know that there exists an organization primarily known for such things?
So, I think there could be several names whose full forms could have such organizations, but I was primarily named after Simi Garewal.
Garewal used to conduct a wonderful talk show that actually started those nice talk shows in India.
Yes.
And we do remember Simi Garewal taking interview of Benazir Bhutto, doing this wonderful interview. What kind of interviews are these the Simi Garewal used to conduct? And how do we compare it favorably or unfavorably with the kind of talk shows we have nowadays on TV?
Sir, in my limited knowledge, I have seen a few of them. The Rendezvous with Simi Garewal. I think she dealt more with the kind of life experiences that these people had. She tried to understand what their emotional or mental situation had been when they went through these experiences. And if we compare them with the present stand, I think present shows. In present shows, we have more fun kind of activities which may be more engaging the public today.
Fine, Simi, it was nice talking to you. You can leave now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Take your seat. Tell me, how is it going, and as per your assessment, what are the areas you believe that you need to work?
I think I haven't revised PSIR at all. And Odisha, I hadn't actually thought about the political issues. I felt like my knowledge was a bit superficial in that sense.
Okay. And apart from knowledge, if you could tell me, where do you believe communication is going?
I think the communication was okay, but I got a bit rattled when I could not start answering questions, certain kind of questions. For example, when sir asked the questions, then I felt like I was a bit disturbed after that.
Okay, Simi, yours is going to be interesting interview there. Okay, it will be interview. For example, if I had the opportunity, then I would have called you to find out how your interview is going.
Okay.
There. I mean, it is not going to be the ordinary interview there as well.
Okay.
Why? One, primarily, you're the kind of candidate which the boards nowadays are looking and preferring.
Mm-hmm.
You're a young candidate. Age-wise, you're a candidate who, if get through this time, can aspire to become a cabinet secretary someday. So getting early into the system always have advantage.
Yes.
And board members are also eager to find such talents. And you do have that spark, so that is going in your favor. Going to the communication part, your sitting posture by and large is okay. It's good rather. Your voice level is good, but I'll come back to this thing. Your hand movement is restricted. Eye contact by and large is okay. Flow is very good.
Okay.
So communication parameters are good, except the few things. I mean, this voice level is good. Now, no doubt about it. But here it appears that your voice level is, when from this side of the table, it appears that it is a little higher.
Yes,
Usually, I'm advising candidates to raise their voice level.
Yes, sir.
You're probably the first candidate I'm saying that you can probably moderate it a bit.
Yes, sir.
Right? Maybe 10-20%. Why? Because, see, there has to be a synchronization between the personality and the voice level. In your case, you're a young candidate, you're a candidate where the board members would look at in a sense that, oh, yes, this is a young girl coming, right? So they have, then in their mental makeup, they have a certain kind of voice they're expecting.
Okay.
Your voice is slightly higher in terms of pitch and loudness in comparison to what they're expecting. It's not bad. It is definitely very good. It is communicating well, but sometimes it appears that it is disturbing the other members who are not directly interacting with you. If you're talking to me, the voice level may actually be bothering other board members. So slightly 10-20%, not more than that. That you can work on. So is the non-verbal communication parameter. You're good looking, right? You're young, and that's why the board members are eager to interact with you. But at the same time, your neck movement is almost vigorous, right? And the facial expressions, especially while listening and in the beginning of your answer, I'll advise you to look at the video very carefully.
Okay.
And also look at the video after muting your voice, right?
Okay.
So you're able to see the kind of face expression that are going on. It's not bad, it's not offensive. But it can be more soothing, right? So work on it. Why I'm getting into these details? Because there is absolutely nothing big to tell you about.
Okay.
You're doing good on the major parameters. So these, when a good candidate comes, only the small thing matters, because larger things are already taken care of, right? That's why I'm getting into these small things. So you can work on those areas. Otherwise, on the content part, you know the areas where you need to brush up a bit. But you have this tendency of starting the answer in a public speech mode, right?
I don't know.
Public speech mode is when you have a long preface to the main question.
Okay.
Okay. It is civil services interview. Here what is expected that the moment you hear the question, you get to the intent of the board member, and then you classify your answer points into 1, 2, 3 and deliver it in the reducing significance, right? What you do is you kind of give a long preface to it.
Okay.
It becomes, the answer becomes longer, one, and second, it also appears as if you are trying to treat the board members as either somebody you are demonstrating to or somebody, even if you consider at par, even that is objectionable.
Okay.
You're getting my point? It is not unfortunately, it is not the most democratic or most egalitarian conversation. It is a conversation with differential power equation. Right? The board members on this side are likely to be considered as more powerful, both in terms of position and age and experience. And you're likely to be answering them not to demonstrate something to them, but to assure them that you know it.
Yes.
Yeah. So you can be a little softer there, and you can have your answers a little shorter, right? And try and avoid this, which I called public speech mode, right? Look at the video, you'll understand why I'm saying all this. Otherwise, you're doing wonderful, right? On 2 occasions, it appears that you kind of interrupted the board members, or you, I won't say negated, but for example, on that no. Usually, the thumb rule in any UPSC interview is that no sentence should ever begin with no, right? Here, on the issue of Rasgulla thing, you can look at the video. He said no. Though there was nothing wrong in it, but I would have expected to present you to say this thing in a different way.
Okay.
I'm sorry, ma'am, I didn't mean it. That's a better way of saying, or you can find out some other way, but not really no, right? But otherwise, as I said, you're doing very, very well.
Okay.
I'm sure you'll do wonders.
Okay.
All the best.
Thank you.